Real news. Honest and fun political talk weekly on the line 90.7 FM. I think we should start off by talking about what's been happening in Virginia, because that's something nobody's really... I mean, I just kind of found out about today. I don't think enough people are talking about. Basically down there, Governor Ralph...
Blackface Northam.
I was going to say Blackface or Klansman Northam. Declared a state of emergency and temporarily banned people from carrying guns and other weapons on the grounds of the Capitol building. And that's ahead of a pro-gun rally that's happening on Monday because they're afraid maybe some violence or something's going to happen. This all happened after Virginia passed 3 new gun laws. One of them limited firearm possession in public spaces. The other one said you can only get 1 handgun per month. Like you can only buy 1 handgun per month. And another one required some background checks on firearm transfers. And so this has made, gun activists, pro-gun people, pro-Second Amendment people just absolutely go full Civil War. 1776 is going to, what was that thing Alex Jones always said? 1776 will rise again. What
was it? The solution to 1984 is 1776.
Yes. Yeah, so it's getting a bit, tense right now, and some people think it's gonna be like Charlottesville 2.0 because the FBI just I think arrested 3 white supremacists that apparently had some violent past or violent tendency. So they're saying that this rally is gonna have a lot of those people. I don't think that's gonna happen necessarily. I think, you consider that gun owners are some of the safest people in the country. I don't think there's gonna be a big issue. But that
I got a question for you guys though.
Sure.
Okay, so we have these stories about how the FBI, arrested these people. Are any of you like me now? Whenever news comes up with the FBI doing literally anything, do you kind of get a little hesitant to I don't know, believe anything that they say or anything that's, because I mean, don't get me wrong. I love I still love the agents and the low level, all the main, the ground game that the FBI does. I after this whole Trump charade, I'm a little reserved in my positive approach toward the hierarchy of the FBI. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I think that this whole, they just so happen to find these white supremacists over at the FBI. That just seems a little bit convenient to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know, the FBI, I feel like maybe it was weaponized during the Obama administration, the 8 years during that. So I'm really hesitant to take their threats super seriously. Now, it's very possible that there were one or 2 fringe people out there. And I believe, that could be the case. But what they're going to try to do is what they did with Charlottesville is paint it as a solely, white supremacist sort of thing.
Yeah.
As a way to demonize gun owners.
It's to me, it's like you have say you have a cheating girlfriend, right?
Good analogy already.
And you take her back, right? You're like, okay, all right. And then one night she just spends out late. She gets back at 2 o'clock in the morning. She comes home a mess, and you're like, where were you? And she starts saying something like, oh, I was at a friend's house. So in your mind, you're probably thinking, oh, she's doing it again, right? Yeah. But I mean, she could have very well been at a slumber party at a friend's house or something like that.
Sure.
Who knows?
Sure.
Right? No. But the fact that she did it once messes up everything from here on out. Now in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, she probably could have. That's how I feel about the FBI right now.
So she's the FBI is a crazy girlfriend.
Yeah. I just don't trust the FBI.
Yeah.
I really don't trust FBI. I really don't trust the ATF, NSA. I really don't trust. A lot of these 3-lettered government agencies that aren't accountable to the people. I just really don't trust them.
What about the 4-letter one, the FISA?
I was going to say, more letters, the worse they are.
Crazy.
Yeah, and especially like with the Trump impeachment stuff, you just see how it's. I don't see how any good gets done. You know what I mean?
I really don't see. Like, I honestly don't see how that FISA court is really, truly, honestly constitutional. But that's just me. Like, you're telling me they could sign off on any warrants on any citizen without any legitimate, because you saw what they did with Trump and Trump's team. They got their information off of something super weak. Like, look, they could do that. Like, they could literally do that. Like, you're telling me they could get something they could dig up from Facebook or something like that. Like, oh, well, we can totally invade this dude's privacy. Like,
well, see, the only difference between what happened to Trump and the Watergate scandal is that 9/11 happened after the Watergate scandal. That's the only difference.
Oh yeah.
It's sad, 9/11 was a terrible event by all means, and I hope that nothing like that ever happens again. But on the other hand, I don't think that just because something absolutely terrible happened means that we should go and forgo the Constitution. I feel the same way, with guns, and I feel the same way about FISA. Yeah. We came into this era where we just we're okay with that now for some reason. Where it's like, oh, okay, something bad happened. Let's just go and throw away our rights and liberties.
Yeah. Well, I think I always look at these things is that you're not going to have absolute liberty, and nor should you have absolute authoritarianism or absolute order. So it's going to become a balance of how much order do you need in your life and how much liberty do you need or want in your life.
Well, no, I get that, but when there should usually be a give and take with these things. When was the last time that we were given more liberty?
Yeah, that's true.
If the founding fathers saw this, what do you think they would say? Would they be happy about this sort of situation? Not even just that, just look, whenever you drive, it's they're automatically scanning your your bumper plate.
Yeah.
Driver's license. There's someone did, I think it was Vice. They had an article was all of the cameras they found in New York City within their walk to work, and there was over 100.
We should go to London. They have so many speed cameras.
I will never go to London.
Cameras. These are cameras of all kinds.
Well, don't you want to say hello to? Oh wait, no, they're going to be in Canada now. So you could say hello to Meghan Markle, but they've already moved all the way to Canada. What do you guys think of that? Who do you think is the Chad in that relationship? Is it Meghan or is it Harry?
Oh, I think Meghan's absolutely taken him.
Meghan Markle is the modern day Yoko Ono.
Yes.
Modern day.
Yo, she is. She's breaking up the band.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the thing I wanted to get, when I first saw Meghan Markle, I had no clue who she was. I had no problem with her at all until I saw a video where Sargon of Akkad showed her at the UN giving this super sappy, teary-eyed, doe-eyed speech about how she saw some ad on TV about, I think it was soap or some sort of cleaning product, had to do something with, in her eyes, quote unquote, sexism. And she complained to the soap company and got them to change their ad or something. Or I mean, it was one of the stupid. No, she didn't send a letter to the soap company first. She first talked to the president. I think she sent a letter to Hillary Clinton. It was one
of the president.
Yeah, not my president. Not anybody's president. And she did all this stuff where she's talking all these government people. And then at the end of it, she's like, and then I realized I need to go to the company themselves. Well, shouldn't you have done that first? And it's the stupidest thing. It's a super third wave feminist, crap about, gender roles are bad and all these things. And it just was one of the stupidest things. And that's what immediately tipped me off, because she looks so fake. And then now you see what's happening with the royal family. The royal family was fine. Harry has little, frat boy controversies where he would dress up as a Nazi at a costume party or do something, outrageous and whatever. But when Meghan came in, now everything's a problem. Now they're dropping their titles. That just happened today. They're not senior royals anymore. And now they're going to be living in Canada. I don't know where they're going to be living. I don't know why you'd want to live in Canada, but they're going to be living in Canada. And I mean, I think, just totally has him on a leash. Harry just seems weak, and I think he's trying to, he feels he's in kind of like that little brother scenario where his big brother gets all the stuff. He gets the crown if once their father dies, he's the next in line, all that stuff, where Harry kind of gets the short end of the stick. So I understand where he's coming from. I get it sucks, but that doesn't mean you have to, let Meghan Markle like dictate your whole life, because that's basically what she's been doing. I think. Could be wrong, just a guess, just an opinion.
I have a feeling that she might, and like the reason that she went to Canada is that she doesn't want to get the Princess Diana special.
Yeah. Oh, well, see, here's the thing. People keep saying, "Oh, if you attack Meghan Markle, you're racist. It's because she's black." Well, first of all, she's not even fully black. She's like half black, I think she claims, but she could be quarter black. That's just my guess.
I think either her mom or her grandma was like black or something.
Her mother's black, but
she definitely is black.
Oh yeah, she is. Yeah. But the thing is, nobody's attacking her because of her race. They're attacking her because she's being disrespectful to the royal family and creating trouble and making a bad image for it. And when you see what the treatment Diana got, the treatment all these other royals got, it's nothing new, okay? I mean, anybody that's new to the family is going to get some beatings by the press and the public. And I know the British tabloids are absolute garbage and can be downright disgusting, but, this is just ridiculous. Like, this is the Yoko Ono of our times. So that's why I queued up a Beatles song for the end of it.
Yeah.
I think she's like tempting them to give her that sort of like to try to do away with her like Princess Diana.
I think personally, she came in, she thought, "Oh, I get to be a princess. It's gonna be wonderful. Oh, I guess I'll just have to do a few little things."
She can't actually be a princess.
Yeah,
because she's not technically not.
She's not royal blood.
Yeah. So.
I think she doesn't like the work, to be honest with you, because I heard rumors that she was complaining about all the work that she had to do and all the rules and restrictions. I'm like, well, that's what you signed up for. It's not your choice. Harry didn't have a choice. You had a choice.
How much like work does she actually have to do? Like, she's just, a royal. It's not like a real job. You get like tons of money from taxpayers of a country that you're not even a citizen of.
Yeah, I mean, you got, like, Sargon talked about this in one of his videos, give a good British perspective on for us Americans. The royal family is very culturally important because they do a lot of stuff like, more ceremonial stuff like opening bridges or, giving a speech at some special event. So there's a good significance for them, but it's not like you're in the coal mines and, working your butt off and guess their lives are kind of at stake a bit because they're, famous public figures, but you get what I mean. It's like they don't have to do a lot of hard labor or something like that.
Yeah, so, I think what's going to happen is, her actions might directly lead to the end of, the British people's like concept of king and queen, whatnot. Like, I think it may, disrupt the whole sort of like ecosystem of the royals, and maybe in 20 years, they'll just abandon their titles and just become basically celebrities for another, decade or like whatnot. And they'll just be, regular people at some point.
Well, they've technically dropped their royal titles. To clarify, then I'll let Phil get in, because I tell you once again, they've dropped their royal titles, but they just won't continue to do royal duties. It's a little, weird that way but they're still a part of the royal family. By blood, of course, and technically considered that. They just dropped their titles.
Meghan, right?
He served, yeah.
Yeah, look, he served. He was the guy. He's the one guy in the family that was like, that people looked at like they were legit. I served, like when I was in Afghanistan, we served with British troops, and he's the one member of the royal family that was like actually held in pretty high regard, like as far as the troops go. I mean,
interesting.
I don't know.
That's from when I talk to British troops overseas. Now it could be totally different elsewhere, but when I was over there, That's the vibe that I got, and that's what some of them were telling me. So take that however you want to. But in any way, you ready for another analogy?
Oh boy, here we go.
You ready? Okay. So this whole situation sounds like, this girl falls in love with a rock musician, right?
Mm-hmm.
Loves the rock lifestyle, goes to the concerts, does all the crazy stuff. They hook up. They're in a relationship. They have a kid, whatever. Girl now wants rock musician to stop being a rock musician and get, 9-to-5 job. Yeah. Start being a quote unquote family man.
Mm-hmm.
So guy does it. Guy steps out of the rock music life, does the family man gig, right? So later on, girl breaks up with guy who used to be rock musician because he's no longer cool anymore, right? All the cool stuff that attracted her to him, he's no longer doing because he's doing the dad lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we are. That's where I feel we're headed with this Prince Harry, Meghan Markle situation.
Yeah, I don't see them staying. It's
Not
going
a
to
chance.
It's going to come to a head at some point. He's going to eventually either gain spine, or maybe, his family will finally step in and say, "Hey, look, this has gone on for long enough." But she's I think she's almost like a sociopath, or like some form of she just wants other people to go and like, what's the word, a narcissist or something?
Yeah. I mean, you look at
some sort of personality disorder there.
Well,
I can feel it.
Pierce Morgan, who's had first-hand experience with her, claims that she just will, when she needs you, she'll be your friend. She'll be nice. When she doesn't, dropped at, right away. Gone, done, moves on. I've known people like that, and yeah, it's kind of sociopathic. I don't know if she is one. She could be. I don't know. Just my guess and opinion, but her behavior is just, I get such bad vibe. I really don't like it. I wouldn't marry her. Let me put it to you that way. Never met her, but wouldn't.
Look, she was already a divorcee. That should tell you enough right there that something's wrong with her, where she can't make a relationship last.
Yeah.
Where she can't make a marriage last. What was that whole thing with her, like, ex-husband?
Yeah, didn't she send, according to Pierce Morgan, she sent her ring back in the mail.
Yeah.
What the? Who does that? I mean, unless, like, if they cheated on you, maybe it's like, yeah, screw you. But, like, I wouldn't even do that. It's just like, it's just weird. It's just like she has no, she doesn't, like, care about them.
And look how her family's like acting to her as well. Like, there's probably something there. They probably know that what she's doing is, not just going to make her family look bad. Like, it's going to make, it's going to destroy the royal family, and they don't want to be, held responsible for having a daughter that did that. She's way in over her head.
Yeah.
Thinking she can do all this stuff and be this, like, social justice ambassador. Like, get a grip. You're just you just married someone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the first marriage, I think that was like a film producer or something like that. So I'm already like, well, the first marriage probably wasn't legit. She was probably looking to boost her career.
Say get a role.
Sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so
what's she doing now? She's probably doing the same stuff,
Probably.
Yeah.
That's totally onto it, Alex. I feel like it feels like that. Like, it feels like maybe she liked him. I'm telling you, it just feels like we're headed in that direction. Like, maybe it's not love. Maybe it's just, fame or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I think what she wants to go and do is, marry him, and then she wants to be this icon for women, and then divorce him. I think she already wants to divorce him, because she become like a super feminist icon. Like, hey, I divorced one of the most powerful people in the world. I broke up.
Yeah, but it's not original. Like Princess Di already did it. Like, yeah.
You say Princess Die Hard.
But she's also a person of color. She's half black or quarter black, so now she can play this like super victim card as well. And I think hers might do even more lasting damage than what happened with Princess Diana. Like Princess Diana opened the gates, but I think she's going to sack the city.
Well, I mean, that city's already sacked. I gotta be honest. I'm not very, like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot. England, there's a lot going on in England that they're just like, it's totally ransacked now. Like, you can't do anything. You can't say anything. You can't own anything to protect yourself. There's not like nothing. It's crazy. It is just absolutely nuts. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, glad I'm here.
Well, like honestly, like England used to be one of the most powerful countries in the world, and now it's like next to nothing.
We were just talking about that. Like we had like, look, England over the last couple hundred years, they've given up literally everything. Like, dude, you give up India, you give up Hong Kong. What else have you given up? You've given up the United States. You've given up like
Canada. They gave up Canada. Yeah.
You don't even own the majority of your own Premier League soccer teams. I think there's like 5 teams in the Premier League right now that are actually owned by British owners or whatever.
And look at their car companies. Their car companies aren't owned by them anymore either, except Aston.
Nope.
Well, even their own like sort of island chain, they don't even own Ireland anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wreck. It's a wreck. And I mean, I don't know. There's a reason. There's a reason why Brexit happened.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why they've done well. I mean, hasn't just done well in one election. They've done it in the past couple of elections.
2 elections. Yeah. It was about Brexit.
It's gaining traction. People are getting sick of this whole political correctness, social justice mess. Come on.
Well, and that's the thing. I think like Brexit kind of forecasted the Trump election away. Technically, did it really? No, but it kind of showed that there was a populist uprising happening in the world. But I think that the recent British elections are forecasting our American elections, which is that people are just over, like Trump has gained more followers from the middle, and people that were on the fence about him are now firmly backing him. I think, though, that the only fear is getting if the Democrats can mobilize enough people, which I don't think they're going to be able to do. And we're going to talk about this later, but there's such a splintering happening in their party, whereas the GOP is more unified, even though there is some infighting we're seeing happening, which we'll talk about that actually in a second. Some of the infighting, too, we can talk about that, too, because that happened over the break. But, the unification is very strong, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And one thing that I was listening to, Joe Rogan had Bill Maher on his podcast yesterday. He had a bunch of big guests. He had Robert Downey Jr. on Thursday, and then Bill Maher. Both were interesting to listen to. But Bill Maher, who I disagree obviously on a lot of things, but one thing he said was so true is that, of all the reasons Trump won, every person you'll talk to pretty much that when you ask them why'd you vote for Trump or why do you like Trump, almost all of them will say, like the first few things they'll say is he's not politically correct. People are so sick of that, and they're so it's infected so many parts of their lives. It's just they realize that it's just gotten so out of control, so ridiculous that we need somebody who can just be the complete antidote to that, the kryptonite to it, and that's why we're here with him today. Before we actually dive into the rest of our topics for this hour, I just want to say, big announcement for anybody that's been following the Turning Point USA chapter here and the speakers we've been doing and all that sort of stuff. We have officially submitted all the paperwork for the new club that is going to be hosting a very special guest speaker. Since Turning Point won't let us do it, we're going to do it through another club on our individual time. And we'll be announcing that in a few weeks. It's getting close already. Be before the end of February, because it sounds like the club registration approval process is going to be a lot quicker than I anticipated and hoped for. So it's going to happen real soon. The new club is Uncensored America, and it's going to be a real wild time here at Penn State after we announce this. And
I like it. I like the idea of a new club that really kind of puts emphasis more on like free speech, and like I like that. I like it. I don't think that sort of thing is talked about enough, especially not in detail. I think with Turning Point, I mean, they do a fairly good job, but it's like I feel like it doesn't go into detail as much as it should, which I think the door opens for this group to be able to pull off, and the door is open for this group to really have a good time with it. And
we will.
Yeah,
we will.
I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it'll be awesome. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of Turning Point, it's done a lot of good on campuses, but I feel like certain factions within it have almost become politically correct in their own way,
The Turning Point chapter here does great things. Here at Penn State does great things, but I'm not convinced at all that the group here is in the same parallel step as the main Turning Point, like big Turning Point.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
well, like I told people, we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing, no matter what name it's under, what vessel we're using. We're just going to keep doing it. So that's why we had to make the new club, and we're going to keep our mission was to do this event. We're going to do it. I think it's more important now than ever. And oh my, I rarely say this, but it's just going to be just the absolute just best event all year, probably many years at Penn State. Like, it's just going to be so wild, so much fun. It's going to cause some chaos and mayhem and happiness and sadness from some people, but it's just going to be wonderful. It's I was afraid this wasn't going to happen. I mean, there's been a lot of hurdles we've had to climb through and jump over and navigate. I mean, look, we got to get a club star, you need to get an advisor, which is a full-time faculty or staff member. So a professor or somebody that works at the university full-time. We got turned down 20 times. 20. That's not even including emails that people didn't reply to. So it's over 20 times we've been denied or haven't gotten somebody to even listen to us. There was only one guy that was willing to listen to us, that was cool with what we were doing, that wanted to help out. And he is just, if he's listening, he knows who he is. He is an absolute just lifesaver, free speech saver. I mean, he just literally stepped in when no one else could. And that's, people say it all the time, like, oh, you did what nobody else would. No, he literally did what nobody else would do. And he had no issues with what we were doing. He had some questions, make sure we were, he understood what, where we were going with this. And we were on the same wavelength, and he was just fantastic. He's awesome. He is.
Don't get me wrong. I'd thank some of these guys. I know some of these guys did step up, but at least they tried to point us in the right direction.
Yeah, they did.
I'll give him that. But that's another thing to talk about too, because I mean, some of these staff members here are running scared.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell that a lot of these guys agreed with us and agreed with what we were trying to do,
but they didn't want to associate.
But they didn't want to associate out of fear of retaliation. Like it's a monster.
Yeah,
it's a monster here. I don't know.
They're afraid of being ostracized from their peer groups, their fellow professors, because that's sort of for a professor, like, a big part of your deal of being here is not just the teaching, but it's doing papers, research, all this stuff with other collaborations with other professors. And when you come out as even mildly centrist, if you don't completely agree with the left's agenda on campus, they just ostracize you. They think there's something wrong with you. Yeah. They suspect you're conservative and you're tossed to the side. I mean, it's just nuts. Like, I don't treat people like that. I mean,
well, yes.
Yeah. I mean, they don't really do like that. Like, now the big campuses are always going to say something like, well, we don't single people out, or we don't do that stuff,
yeah,
or whatever. Well, here's the thing. They don't do it. It's a very misleading It's very misleading what they're saying. What they do is they basically do a soft. They do it soft.
Yeah, indirectly.
You know?
It's like when they say they support free speech, but if you say something controversial, you're ostracized. Like, well, do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe on paper you support free speech, but the environment isn't pro free speech. The environment does not support free speech.
They're not gonna hate on you directly, but they're gonna set you up in worse situations. They're gonna set you up in worse situations than if you didn't, if you just kept your mouth shut or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. That's a huge problem, because it's like this is one of those ways that they can silence conservatives.
Yep.
This is a problem.
Well, yeah, and I think that the whole idea of like requiring an advisor is almost like a sort of anti-conservative sort of kill switch in there, because if you think that the university doesn't know there's an extreme left-wing bias over here, that's complete BS. They know it.
Yeah.
The only reason that's being implemented, and it was a pretty recent, compared to the whole life of the university, it wasn't always required.
No, I think it was about
2006 or something.
2003, right? I think it was when it was implemented.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure, this was that whole idea was done to go and censor conservatives and people who would speak out against certain things. And that'd be an interesting thing to go and look at too. Like, I don't know, maybe contact some organizations like FIRE or like in the Trump administration, because I know he did that whole executive order about free speech or stopping conservative discrimination. This would be something to kind of have them look into. Is this policy even in line with the First Amendment?
Yeah.
Because technically you could still get people to speak over here, but if you don't have a club, your options are severely limited, and you're on the hook for a lot more money.
Well, I showed you guys that the only two options I had, other than let's say the club thing didn't go as planned, which again it's still in the process, but it's very optimistic right now. Like, it's looking very good. Let's say none of this happened, we couldn't get an advisor, or none of this, we're not here today at this point. We would have to do without a club. Now, Penn State. It looks like you can book rooms without a club, but when you talk to people, you actually can't. There's only two places I can confirm that you can book without a club, and only one of them's on campus. That's the Eisenhower Auditorium, and big theater companies like the Book of Mormon was here recently, like stuff like that, book stuff there. So obviously outside orgs can. So we could have done that. It would have been more expensive, which would have been annoying, and we couldn't get funding from the university, and we would have to pay for probably a different rate for campus security. Like, there'd be a whole bunch of hurdles involved with that, just with the cost. So we could do that way, or we could do the State Theater, which is off campus. Off campus gives you more freedom in some way, but also gives you more limitations. I think you could still get campus security there, but can't get funding for that. If you don't have a club still. And as I showed you guys, they sent a very rude, nasty reply back to me when I even suggested we bring our speaker to their 501c3 nonpartisan State Theater. They disappointed me heavily on that, and they utterly lied about our speaker over just stupid stuff. I mean, it was ridiculous. So there you go. That our options were literally Eisenhower Auditorium without club, or you have to get a club. Thankfully, we got an advisor that was willing to put skin in the game, and we're going to do it through a club, hopefully in the hub, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, see, that's the thing to go and look at too. Is like, how can you say that you're like a 501c3 organization, nonpartisan, and then blanketly discriminate against people on political reasons?
I think the reason is, and this is where this 501c, I don't know the full law of 501c, but I checked on Wikipedia. The biggest restriction on a 501c3, and same with Turning Point, is you can't promote, or you can't campaign for a candidate. So, for example, Turning Point can't start campaigning for Trump. I mean, some would say, aren't they kind of already doing that? It's like, well, they have him speak at stuff, they have him do all these things, but that's not going door to door as Turning Point USA or doing phone banking as Turning Point USA, encouraging people to vote for Trump. But that's where it gets weird, is like this whole discrimination against like certain viewpoints because you don't like them. I don't understand how that's not involved with a 501c, but that's what I know about.
Oh yeah, now see that's another thing too. It's like, state theater, isn't that like publicly funded, or like our taxpayer dollars are going into that institution?
I think I don't know. I know there's like a committee of arts or something. It has one of those titles that gives them money, but they're considered a charity technically, I think.
Well, yeah, so they don't have to go and pay taxes, basically. Or their taxes.
Oh, they're definitely tax exempt. Yeah, when you're a 501c3, you're tax exempt.
Yeah, so, if they're going to be doing that, like, I honestly think that, like, some of the laws on these 501c3 organizations need to be kind of looked at a little bit more.
And it says on their website, the State Theater receives state arts funding support through a grant from the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts, a state agency funded by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the National Endowment for the Arts, a federal agency.
Okay, so we're getting, not only Pennsylvania taxpayer funds, but, federal.
Federal, yeah.
So my funds are going to an inherently left-wing organization that basically discriminates against, Republican and conservative ideologies. That's a little bit much. That like, as a taxpayer, that kind of offends me, since we don't have the equivalent like right-wing organization over there. They should at least be required to give the option of having, right-wing people at these facilities if you're going to be offering that.
Wow. They also just had a new, I don't know, I guess this is a ban that is on the date that we want to have our event. I don't know if that's new, or did I pitch them a different date? I can't remember. Maybe I pitched them a different date, but it's funny how that happened. But it's just very, like, I could, here's the thing, like, one of their claims too was, like, they kind of said your speaker isn't basically like family friendly or like kid friendly. You guys show rated R movies. I mean, they've shown all kinds of stuff there. It's not kid friendly. It's like, what are you talking about? They showed Schindler's List. I mean, geez.
Well, yeah, they had like, what was it? Yeah, they have beer over there. They have
a bar. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely, they're showing rated R movies over there. So I think they just gave you the runaround because they didn't want to do it.
No,
that's
like,
exactly
honestly,
what they did.
Honestly, you need to be in contact with Fire about some of these things, because if this is like, is that a part of Penn State University at all?
I don't think so, because it's off campus.
Well, then how can you go and book? Like, Penn State has certain facilities that are off campus as well.
That's true. I mean, I can't book it through the Penn State system, but I can say, hey, we'd like to rent the space out for this event, like a musician would do, or a comedian or something like that.
Yeah, like, some stuff needs to be dug into a little bit, but I think, you might uncover some very interesting things.
Yeah.
I think we should wait until the announcement before we do anything like that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, I won't go and do any sort of like actual action, but, you can always do some research and see what sort of rabbit holes it might lead you down to.
Well, in the email, they do say, quote, I don't think that I'm going to substitute the pronoun here for your speaker's views align with the State Theater and its mission as a safe place for children in the community.
Uh-huh.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And they called him racist, bigoted.
Can you look at an event list of stuff they have going on there?
Yeah, I can do it right now. I'm on their website. Let's see. They have, they have an opera coming up. They have Selma. Oh, they're showing Schindler's List. I've just talked about it. January 27th.
They had the Book of Mormon over there?
No, that was at Eisenhower. Eisenhower's been cool. I want to make a clear distinction here. Eisenhower has been totally cool. She has been cooperative, the manager there, and was okay with us bringing our speaker there, and was even still okay when I said, hey, what if we don't have a club? She's like, yeah, you can still do that. Just be more money, but you can still do it. She's been totally cool. State Theater on their hair has not been totally cool. They have Jazz in the Attic. Ugh. Let's see. They have, I'm trying to see some of the artists, because their movies are listed, I think, in the movie category. But they have a bunch of musicians coming, artists. But it's just, I'm pretty disappointed. with them because I've been to them. It's a nice place. It's really cool. They show some cool classic movies there. Like I've loved my experience there. This just was downright just awful.
Did they show Joker there?
No, they haven't yet. They've shown 2001. They've shown Dr. Zhivago. They've shown Blade Runner. They've shown, like I said, Schindler's List. They've shown It's a Wonderful Life. They've shown a bunch of other things I can't think of. Oh, they showed that the gay movie. What's it called? Crap. It's a radar movie too, I think.
Midnight Cowboy?
No, not that one. It's a more recent one. It's the one with the Italian one. Call Me by Your Name. Yeah, they showed that movie. That's radar. Yeah, they showed
Did
that.
that include adult scenes?
Yes, very adult.
Okay, yeah. So that's apparently that's family friendly. But who knows? These are the type of people that probably have a drag queen story time over there. So
Yeah.
I mean, I know. They're just going to discriminate against you guys because they just hate right wingers and they can't. They're probably the type that are like wondering how Trump was elected.
Mm-hmm.
They can't describe. Hey, this is the reason why people might do that. They'd be like, oh, well, it's because people are racist.
Well, for something like the art, we're supposed to have a big imagination. Their imaginations are quite limited. They can't figure out why Trump won. I mean, it's disappointing, but again, the show's still going to go on. It's going to go on its original location like we want. Here at Penn State on campus, so it's gonna be really cool. I'm really excited. I can't wait to talk about it on here once we actually announce it. But I know you guys are pretty excited too. So I'm really happy that we got all this stuff in, and they're supposedly gonna process our registration like now. Like they're gonna work as quickly as they can to register all these clubs that have applied. So we should know within a few weeks if the club is approved, and that means we can probably get funding in, which would be really cool. That'd save us a lot of time, money, and effort, and allow more people to come in. So it's gonna be cool. Any final thoughts on that before we go to a quick song break?
No, just be on the lookout. When that thing gets announced, it'll be big.
Yeah,
I
stay
can't
tuned.
wait. I can't wait.
I can't wait to. Oh my god, it's gonna be like my favorite part of my time at college. It's just gonna be awesome. It's just the nirvana, the pinnacle, just the peak of what we're trying to do here. Are you there, boys?
It on April Fool's Day, but that's a little too. We could have, but that's too close. Like that's too close from the announcement to the actual event.
Are you guys talking about
Like,
the announcement
I think
day?
Valentine's Day would be fun.
We're on. We're live.
Did you can that?
Yeah. Don't worry. I turned off the mic. I don't know. And I was like, oh, turn you guys off.
Oh, yeah, we had a good old conversation while y'all were on the break.
Oh, did you now? You want to enlighten us on what we missed?
Top secret.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're talking
Like,
crap
no.
about me behind my back. I see.
Well, no. We're talking about some minor logistics for
For our event.
for the event. Yeah. So yeah, what's next? What's next to talk about here?
Well, I was just going to say real quick, it looks like Penn State has brought Bill Ayers in the past, or somebody has.
That was like, I think one of my first. When did he do that? Because I think it was either around the time that I first started over here, or something like that.
Let's see. The article I'm on is from 2015, and
Yep.
he was brought here by CIGSA. Who are those people? I'm trying. They put an acronym. I don't even know what it means. Googling it, I still can't find who these people are. Let's see. I found Penn State's like College of Education Graduate Student Council. What?
So the school is paying for terrorists to come over here.
Well, yeah, he was. I guess where he was in. You know where they had him speak? The
Where?
Pascarella Spiritual Center.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So they have no right to give you any flack about whoever you bring here.
No,
as long as
they
it's not like
don't.
a convicted terrorist.
Look,
Like he's
we're
way worse than anybody we have ever or will ever bring. Just beyond like the pale of what we'd bring.
Yeah, that, and they'll give you flack for like Sargon, but they brought in convicted terrorists.
Yeah,
That makes,
literally.
and that was like, that was when I was still at Penn State. I remember hearing about that. I don't know if I was at main campus at that point, but I know I heard some stuff.
Yeah, it's some like grad student like group. Like, what the heck is this? And
Yeah, so Penn State's tactically, and like having actual endorsements of
Mhm.
terrorist organizations.
And what's funny too, I was talking to um, people in the alumni association, and it's interesting because the alumni association is pretty left wing, but they said like, when we get these speakers or when they do, or when anti-free speech stuff happens or there's PC stuff happening, the alumni are pretty vocal about it, and there's kind of like a sort of a clash that's between the alumni and the and Penn State a lot, more than you'd realize. So, they're going to be pissing off their nice alumni that pay them money if they try to complain about us bringing our speakers. I don't think they will because they've been pretty good. They're pretty good about Sargon and Hunter, so hopefully they're good about this one.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the alumni association, like the people like who form the board, they're probably pretty left wing. But I imagine the actual alumni, you'll probably get a bunch of people from across the political spectrum there.
Yeah. We should also go on after we announce this Sam show, because I know he has a lot of, Sam Whitfield has a lot of people that'd be interested in this. So we'll do that too, because I think Sam would be interested to talk to us about this, because it's said when this gets announced, the earth is just going to shake, Penn State won't be the same after this event, because it's...
they thought Sargon was bad,
Yeah, not to downplay Sargon or anything, but this is just this gets these people more worked up than anything else. So it's gonna be exciting. We'll have a lot more to talk about when it comes around. But
so speaking of Sargon, did you guys have any like interesting stuff that happened after that? No, they tried to like shut down your club, or are they still trying to do that?
Yeah, I haven't mentioned that. I should mention that. I have heard chatter from my sources. It's weird that I know people now that can get in on this stuff, but there are efforts in place by various left-wing organizations to try and shut down our Turing Point chapter, which you can't do. I mean, it's one of the hardest things you can do, unless we've like broken the law, or we've broken one of Penn State's policies at something, which we haven't. I mean, even like, because they first tried to decharter us, which is strip our funding, and the only way you can do that, it's such a soft way of saying we're going to shut your club down. Because you can't decharge somebody unless you shut their club down, because once you get a club, you're automatically given an ASA number, which is the bank at your student group's bank account, and so you can get funding. So the only way to decharge us is shut us down. So they now they've embraced that. They've realized that we've kind of caught on to their scheme, and so there's been an effort to try and shut us down. They haven't done anything yet. They might, I don't know. But now they're gonna have two clubs to try and shut down, so it's gonna be real fun. And student government hates us. They're totally biased against us and totally left-wing elitists, and everybody's against us except a good chunk of students, our club members, and the conservatives that donate to us on the Eventbrite and other stuff. It's pretty depressing, but we get through it.
Speaking of which,
student government's garbage. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna say it right now.
Do it.
Student government is garbage. Garbage with a capital G. They're supposed to be politically neutral, right? In
They're
their
not.
decisions or whatever. They have people in their hierarchy that are also in the college Democrats.
Yep.
Right? That there's no way that you're not going to be biased. It's
well,
yeah. So I don't understand like when they denounced the Sargon event, which was totally crazy. When they denounced the Sargon event, it was like, it's like, can they do that? Like, what does that even mean? Like,
Yeah.
does it matter at all? Like, no. First, look, first off, doesn't matter at all.
No.
Like, they can rebuke whatever the heck they want to. We're still gonna do what we're gonna do, and they're just gonna have to sit here and take it. But I'm like, do they, like, what are they doing?
Nothing.
What are they doing? Like rebuking anything?
Yeah.
Like, dude, just, like, your job is to,
Represent students' interests.
Represent students and try to promote, a better quality of life, maybe for the students or something like that. Be an advocate for the students. Like, you're not doing that. You're not. Well, who cares? Like, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing too, like with the student government, because I was in not Penn State main campus, but I was at another branch campus of the student government before. Like, you'll just get these groups that go in there, like, constantly, like, left-wing groups that will go and, like, form for, like, 1 year, like, geez, we had, like, so many, like, gay student, like, organizations that would go and start up, and they wouldn't do anything with the money. They go and, like, go bankrupt, or not bankrupt, but, like, no one starts showing up after a year, and they'll just throw money at these people. But as soon as there's a conservative group, they'll be so, like, hesitant to that. But, the Commonwealth campuses, a lot of their student governments, you can get a lot of people on the right in those places if you really want to. Like, if you're listening over here and you're from a branch campus, go for that. Like, I don't know about some of the bigger ones, but if you're in a smaller campus, you just pretty much have to show up and just go there. It's so easy to get in there. But, no, that, like, you mentioned with the alumni, did they say anything about the, like, when you talk to the alumni people, if, like, alumni responded to that event?
I should actually talk to the people I know there and see if that's true, if they have said anything, because I don't know. But it'd be interesting to see, because there's definitely a vocal group of alumni that aren't happy with a lot of this sort of crap. And student government, they don't do anything. I mean, this denouncing of things is so ridiculous. It's so, you're not proving anything. You're just virtue saying. I mean, wait, they have no reason to do it. They're not accomplishing anything to do it. Like, why are they even doing it? I mean, you shouldn't have to be denouncing people. If somebody came up to you and student government said, hey, I don't like these speakers. They're awful. You need to denounce them. Why? Why should they have to denounce people that they frankly don't know anything about? And when you have 3 college Dems in the student government, like, in high positions, I think it's 3. To
be fair, when I was at the student government, like when I was at Penn State, there was a few people in college Republicans there as well.
Yeah, but you don't have that at this one. This is the big one.
No, that was at main campus when I was there. The college Republicans had like 2 or 3 people. And now, to be fair...
Oh, are they who I think they are?
Yeah. Yeah, so they're not really... I mean, they're
not really Republicans, let's be honest. Yeah, let's be honest. Yeah. It's like, that's the thing, too. It's like, I'll tell you this. College Democrats, college Republicans, even though it's hard for them to, like, do events... College Dems seem to be talking a lot with them. They do not want to talk to us. And when I try talking to them, they either don't reply or they'll say, oh, we'll do this, we're looking at this, and nothing happens. I mean, they can tell we're winning, we're effective, and we're not going to give in to their stupid crap, and we're not going to deal with it. We're still going to be reasonable.
Well, okay. Yeah, so we're also like the big thing for me is that we're fighting for the conservatives on campus. We're actually fighting. Like,
yeah,
you can tell some of these groups don't even take a stance. They're like, yeah, we're gonna step back. We're not gonna do anything. Like, no, we're fighting. Like, we're fighting. We're defending the conservatives that are on this campus. We're not doing this for fame. Or we're not doing this for job prospects or anything.
No, I've kind of burned some.
We're doing it. We're like legitimately passionate about this stuff, right? We legitimately have passion, and we're fighting because look at what happened. Look at what happened when we were just trying to start a new organization, right?
Oh yeah.
You know that. Imagine what conservative students are going through, right?
Mhm.
The right-leaning / conservative students are going through, right? They're forced to kind of stay hush hush or whatever. Like, no, we're fighting for these guys.
Yeah.
We're defending these guys. That's what, like, and it does bother me that these other organizations aren't taking a stronger stance, like defending us.
Well, the Republicans over at Penn State, at least when I was there, they're more of a fraternity than anything else. You know, like both in terms of like, you know, just like a networking thing and then a drinking thing as well.
If they're a fraternity, that's literally the most uncool fraternity you could possibly be a part of.
And then they had this stupid thing. It was like, oh, we're the
best party on campus.
The biggest party on campus.
Oh my God,
no, you're not.
No.
I think they dropped that. I will say, because
that would have been the wisest decision ever to drop that whatever that weirdness was.
Well, see, like when I was there, like either the president or the vice president, one of the two, they were like members of actual, like he was a leader of a fraternity.
Yeah.
So like it kind of made sense maybe back then, but like at least my senior year and going forward, like no.
Well, like I was at a meeting. When they were. Were you, Sean? Were you at the meeting when they said that? Like when they said that they had the merch that was on sale.
Yeah. I remember that. I
was looking at it and I saw it and I was like, why? Why would you do this?
They even did like a Greek symbol.
People around me were laughing at me when saying that. I'm like, dude, why were you doing that? I don't know if that was the beginning of them not liking me, but like,
no, Phil. There was a lot more before then that gave them reasons not to like you.
No, I mean, you know, but I was like, why?
Yeah, I know.
Like, what were you doing? Like,
because they took some sort of like Greek symbol, made like the CR thing I remember on one of those things. But I will say, look, I want to make something clear, which is that the new CR board this year, I've talked to them a lot, I've gotten to know them, I've heard some of the inside, you know, what's going on and all that. This is an overall improvement to what has been the CR's past. I know what you're gonna say. It's a low bar. I know. Yeah. But I'm a believer in, if you're going in the right direction, that means if you keep going in that direction, you're eventually gonna get to the place you need to be. Now, will they keep this momentum up? I don't know. I honestly don't know, because I don't know who's gonna be on their board next year. I really don't. Yeah. There's not a lot. I can't think of many candidates coming to mind, but I will say there are a few people on that board that I know are working hard. I know they're trying to make stuff happen, and overall the club has felt more fun, more welcoming this year, and definitely way more pro-Trump. And, you know, again, I hope it gets better, and I'm always going to encourage improvement, and they've been nice to us. I'll be honest, I wish I could see some stronger support or coalition with Turning Point here. Like, I don't see Bull Moose Party supporting us. Of course, they kind of hate us. They've always hated us. They just don't say it. I don't see CRs really like putting statement out saying, hey, you know, we support free speech and we disagree with the college Dems condemning this event. I get why they don't do it. I mean, it's too hot to touch us.
Buddies. That's the whole reason. They're best friends with the college Dems.
Who wants another analogy?
Oh, I do. Pick me.
Are you hungry for another analogy here?
Yeah, lay it in.
All right. So, picture in your mind a ship, right? A ship is on the ocean, right? It's sinking, right? And so, you know, while the ship is sinking, you have people that are on the ship as it's sinking with water pails, right? And they're grabbing the water, they're getting the water and they're chucking it off the boat, right? They're chucking the water off the boat, right?
Mm-hmm.
That ship is literally the college Republicans here at Penn State. Literally, yeah. And the good ones and the good people that are there at the CRs are the people that are trying to chuck water off of the ship.
And I know somebody personally that kind of describes it that way, where they're kind of picking up other people. They're also, bailing the water that other people should be bailing. You know what I mean? It's. I look, and the CRs too. They have so much potential, and that's why I saw Turning Point so much potential, and I've been trying to utilize it under my presidency. But it's potential I learned has been limited, so got to do your own thing. Like, I've learned that so quickly in life is like being your own boss is one of the, even though it has its downsides, it's one of the greatest things ever because you're your own boss. You can do what you want to do, and I'm the type of person I just like doing what I want to do. I mean, maybe that sounds selfish. I don't know. But I do consider people's perspectives on things, as you guys know. But it's just, man, I hate when people tell you can't do stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, here's my thing. If being your own boss is good if the passions are there.
Yes,
right?
That's true.
So if the passions are there, you want to be your own boss because you can work to build something. Yeah, you have it because, like, if you're passionate about something, you're going to have purpose, you're going to have direction, and you're going to have motivation. And those are like the three things that you need for leadership, right? So you already have that. And so being your own boss, you can it's easier to dictate what steps to take, what direction to go, how to motivate people, whatever. But if you're there for yourself, like if you're just there for a bullet on your resume or whatever, it actually sucks because now you have responsibility. It's like, well, I just wanted the bullet on the resume. I didn't want responsibility and all this extra work and all this stuff. Whereas if you're passionate about this thing, it's not really so much work. I mean, it is work.
It's a labor of love.
You don't really see it that way because it's like, look, I got this mission and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this thing done. So it's a different motivation. And I think with the, well, I'm sorry about what. Go ahead, Alex.
Well, you can see that a lot too. Like, look at the members of college. You can look at what majors they choose. The vast majority are political science, and not to say that everyone who's a poli-sci major is necessarily doing it for themselves. But a lot of them are. A lot of them do want to do that because that's how they can find a job.
Well, and the other thing too, I forgot to mention and I'm so glad you brought this up, Phil, because it's something that sometimes even we forget, is that we are fighting for those conservatives on campus, like all of them, especially the ones that are scared to come out. They're scared to have a voice on campus. Like, we try to give them that voice, give them a platform, or represent what they believe in and bring it into the headlines more, bring it into the mainstream of campus more, where people are seeing it and it's not in the shadows. And that's something that you just got to keep doing, because if you do that, that's when people start taking notice, at least, or people in the middle, and they start getting more interested, or something. And that's what I hope we accomplish. I don't have anything more to say to that, because I think we should move on to a few more things before we close out for this final hour. But we'll, again, keep you updated. So stay tuned. More info will come on the big event, probably in 3-4 weeks. So stay tuned. I want to talk briefly about, because we mentioned elites here, one of my favorite comedians alive, Ricky Gervais, absolutely took a flamethrower to the Hollywood elite at the Golden Globes. I mean, look, I knew it was going to be good because I've seen all of his past Golden Globe monologues and little bits in between. He's always been great. He gained quickly a reputation. I remember it very well when he first did it, of doing edgy, offensive jokes, and people were calling him mean and all this other stuff. Like, no, he was just funny. And this last Golden Globes, I know everybody's been talking about, but I had to say something about it. He was just so good. It was A+, platinum grade, golden, whatever you want to call it, material. It was him at his best there, and he held nothing back. He even made a Weinstein joke, and Epstein didn't kill himself joke. It was just fantastic. I don't want to ruin any of his bits. Just go on YouTube, check it out if you're interested. It's so good how he mocked their hypocrisy perfectly of these Hollywood elites.
So what I was watching the playoffs, right? The NFL playoffs, because that it was on NBC. And they had a game on NBC. And so I had the television on. It was still on NBC after the game. So I was like, all right, well, now I'll just I'll brush my teeth or whatever, because I like to do that stuff before I go to bed or whatever. So I was brushing my teeth, and I was hearing the Ricky Gervais monologue while I was brushing my teeth. And the first joke he mentioned, I spit out my toothpaste on the mirror. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, oh no.
Did you know he was going to be on? Did you know?
No, I didn't even. Well, I knew he was going to be on. I didn't realize that it was going to be that. Like, I didn't realize it was going to be that. And yeah, the second he made that first joke, it was fun. It was hilarious. It was so funny.
Yeah.
I would say I would double what Sean said. And if you get the chance, YouTube it, because it is gloriously funny.
Yeah.
I think this was a good swan song for him, because there's no way in hell he's going back on after that.
There's no way NBC's signing him on again. I can't imagine NBC signing.
Well, he said this is his last one. And and the thing is, too, what's always been fascinating is that even after his first one, people are like, oh, they're not going to let him back, are they? And they did, like 4 more times. And it's because he brought them good ratings at the end of the day. While these other award shows have been tanking with their lame, comedians they'll bring, so-called comedians, and they're afraid of controversy. He's bringing the controversy, and controversy always brings interest. He brought big ratings. I think that's why they kept bringing him. And he would always go up to the line, but never cross it. I think this time he crossed the line to actually pissing these people off that wouldn't that they're in charge of allowing him on the show. But I don't blame him. Go out, final time in Blaze of Glory was perfect. And he kept telling that. He's like, guys, my last time. I don't care. I mean, well, I never cared, but it was great. It was just so great. It was like watching Trump, when you watch Trump say certain things that you wish other politicians would say? Like, that's what I got with Ricky Gervais. It was like he was saying the stuff I wish everybody else in that position would say. Or if I was in that position, I would say that. Obviously not as good of a joke that he would make, but the idea of it is like something, I wish I could say. And that's what's so powerful about what he's doing. It's just beautiful.
So what was the left-wing reaction to that? Because I imagine they'd probably be, pretty steaming about some of those, spice bombs he dropped.
I mean, it's weird because I expected huge outrage, and there was some outrage, but it wasn't as much as I expected, and I'm trying to think of why it is. It could be because Gervais is semi-left-wing, he's British, so, he's not... It's like he's never going to be like a full-blown conservative because they really don't have that there. But he doesn't really like Trump. He's kind of left-wing, but he's very pro-free speech, very anti-censorship, support Count Dankula when he was getting fined and almost thrown in jail. I mean, I think they weren't as outraged was because they just didn't know what to say to it, I think. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, because some of his jokes are just so bulletproof in many ways. Or there's like... I don't know. It was
legitimate talent. Like what Ricky Gervais did was legitimate talent. It's talent. Do you know how hard it is as a stand-up, as a comedian, to make fun of the crowd and still make them laugh? Yeah. That's hard. That's hard stuff. And he does it. He's been doing it for a couple of years now. And that's kind of why you really didn't get a whole lot of flack from a lot of the left.
You just had Tom Hanks giving goober looks every second.
Well, that was glory, but
yeah.
But I mean, people appreciate talent, More like, and we were talking about this with the Dave Chappelle skit.
Mm.
He was making fun of a whole bunch of people that were rubbed the left the wrong way, but he was funny.
Yeah.
Like, he did it, and he was funny, and people loved it. And it was like, and this is what people don't understand. When you're talented, right? And most of these leftist comedians aren't very talented, but when you're talented, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. It's like, people are going to pay to see you perform. People are going to pay to, whatever. And that's what they don't understand. Or they do understand. They just don't care. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing with Chappelle. Like, you still saw that he got backlash from a lot of, left-leaning outlets for that. But for Gervais, I saw maybe one or two articles, but that was it.
I think Chappelle got bigger backlash than Gervais.
Way bigger.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But, I do feel that, that was probably, one of the best performances I've seen, and one at any award show, but two, just genuine comedy. It almost brings back maybe it was the sort of jester mentality where you can't really, if he makes you laugh that much, you can't really get him for it, because
I think
and these people that bash and that give people like Dave Chappelle and Ricky Gervais flack or whatever, they are so out of touch with the real world, with common America, right? They're so out of touch. It's uncanny. Most of the people in this country, they work hard. They work hard for their money. They pay their bills. They work long hours. Most of them have families. They work hard trying to maintain their relationship, maintain their child's lifestyle. They're trying to do the best that they can with what they have, right? And so when they get free time, which many rarely do, but when they get free time, they want to enjoy their free time.
Yeah,
they want to enjoy it.
And they don't want to be lectured to by people who don't know.
I don't want to be
anything.
lectured. Yeah, these people don't want to be lectured. They don't want to be told about politics or whatever. I don't want to hear about politics. When I get my free time and I pay money, and then I pay the money that I pay to see these people perform, or I pay the outrageous cable bill, I don't want to see, I don't want to be conditioned into some weird train of thought. I want to be entertained, right? So that's the disconnect, right? That's what that's what people like Amy Schumer don't understand, right? She's just pushes out unoriginal, sappy, emotionally pleading content, and some of these late night hosts too, and it doesn't connect. That's why their ratings are tanking. That's why they're not doing as well as the other late night talk shows hosts used to, because they don't get it. They're disconnected with the real world.
Yeah. Last thing I'm going to say is that the other thing too, I think the reason that Gervais got hardly any backlash this time is because when he first did the Golden Globes and was making his edgy, offensive jokes, was that was when he got the most backlash, and since he keeps doing it, it's kind of like everybody kind of expects it. So I think that's why he didn't get so much this time, is because he's been doing it. They already kind of gave him that backlash, whereas Chappelle, who's always kind of had, I guess you call it edgy humor in a sense, or it's definitely not PC, but he just came out swinging so hard and not being in the public eye for so long, that's what really set people off. And, there's probably a bunch of, especially younger people, especially because they're on Twitter, that don't know really who Dave Chappelle was before the Sticks and Stones special. I mean, I knew who he was and I'd seen his stuff before, but I mean, his new Netflix specials have been very it's kind of like like when a band comes back and does an album later, and they start exploring their old catalog. That's kind of like what happened with Chappelle's. He introduced himself to a newer generation in a way, especially people my age I know that didn't know who he was but now do. So interesting to follow that. I actually want to talk about, just for a fun little segment here, all the things we watched over break, because I know Alex and I watched a lot. I know Phil watched some stuff too, probably, and I definitely watched a lot of things. So let's give our few cents on some things. I want to start off with movies. Did any of you guys see Marriage Story?
No.
Okay.
That just sounds like a bad movie already. Marriage Story sounds really bad.
Why? Because marriage is in the title?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I will say it's an interesting movie. It's well done, very well acted. It has Adam Driver from Star Wars and girls, and Scarlett Johansson, obviously from all the Marvel movies. Those two play off each other really well. It's the first time I actually was impressed with Adam Driver's acting. It's about a couple who are going through a divorce, and it shows all the ugly sides to it and the truthful ugly sides to it. That's what I did like. It wasn't some Hollywood, sort of fluffed up version of it. Like, it was very... It showed you how ruthless these lawyers and these spouses can be, and how ugly a divorce can get. And will I watch it again in my life? Probably not. It's not something that I just go, oh, gee, I really want to watch Marriage Story. It's just kind of like, yeah, it was an experience. That was interesting. So that's up for some awards, and I think the acting was great, and the story was, good enough, interesting, and worth checking out. It is worth checking out if you don't, understand divorce that well, the proceedings, how it works, and that it can sort of fill that knowledge gap and give you a sense of it. Did any of you see Rise of Skywalker?
I did not.
You still haven't seen it yet? Did you see it?
It was the worst Star Wars movie ever.
Worse than Last Jedi? You think it was worse?
Ever.
Okay, so we don't spoil it for Alex. Which are non-spoiler stuff to say about it that really pissed you off?
It just ruined the story. It ruined the storyline. Well, The Last Jedi ruined a chunk of the storyline too, but it just went crazy. The Skywalker, it just ruined the storyline. I don't know. What are they doing?
Yeah.
What are they doing with the story? It feels like Mickey Mouse came into the theater and took a giant dump in the middle of the theater. Like that's what it feels like.
See, Ryan Johnson's Last Jedi was like a big middle finger to the audience. This was like a big dump on the audience. And there's even a little jab at The Last Jedi. Did you notice when, this isn't really a spoiler, but when Rey goes back to the island she trained with Luke, remember, do you know the part I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. And she does something with that lightsaber. That was a big, like, F you back to him. And that's what this movie was doing. It was course correcting The Last Jedi. It was like making up for stuff it didn't do, or changing things that JJ obviously didn't want to happen. JJ Abrams, not JJ that we know. And then, making a new story, like, within this, like, 2 hour, 40 minute, I think just everything just felt so rushed.
Like 2 hours and 40. First off, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. Not that. I mean, it was packed with.
So packed.
It was fast paced, but it was like.
Too fast. Like you didn't process something, and then it just moved on to the next thing.
Yeah, the movie was terrible.
It was bad.
It just was a waste. Look, there are some.
They stuck JJ in a really kind of bad place with The Last Jedi. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I can assume and it's just a stupid thing that Disney's been doing with it too. Like, they've been having this sort of like back and forth between two different like producers. So you're gonna have stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. And if you read the behind the scenes stuff somebody talked about on Reddit about, it's a total mess. And Disney gave Ryan Johnson too much freedom, so they controlled JJ more. And apparently he doesn't like the final product because it wasn't the film he intended it to be completely. There was a lot of scenes left out that he wanted. I think the cut was like way longer. It was like 3 hours. And to be honest with you, the movie needed more time. Even though I was like ready to leave at near the end, it still needed more time to let things breathe or to explain some stuff, because we all know, it's not a spoiler, Palpatine comes back. How he comes back is so freaking stupid. It doesn't make any sense. I'm getting a phone call. I'll be right back.
I don't know. After The Last Jedi, I just stopped paying attention to like major Star Wars releases. I'll probably go and catch this when it comes out at like the DVD rental place or something. But like, I don't know, because I don't really want to pay full price for this. What I know is gonna be a piece of crap movie. Like, not even just from what you guys have been saying, but just knowing like in general how this series has been going. Yeah, like I don't know, like Star Wars, as bad as the prequels were, they're really nothing compared to what would happen now. Yeah, and I started watching a little bit of that. I saw the first few episodes and it was really good, but like, and if you go and see like most of the Star Wars media that's coming out, that's like not, set.
Yeah. So, I heard that if you get the IMAX passes,
What happened?
what he took a phone call during the show.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we had a phone call from somebody that was listening in. I didn't want to ask him to come on because we're running out of time here, but he hates J.J. Abrams. I'll tell you that. He's justified to some degree.
People over here that
they needed his member berries.
Yeah. It's a good South Park reference there.
Yes. Thank
You're welcome.
No. I heard that if you bought tickets to see the IMAX version of Skywalker, right?
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. Yeah.
You can actually, it's so detailed that you can actually see Mickey Mouse pulling out your wallet and taking your money. Like, it's very nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, I thought you were gonna say something different, but if you saw the IMAX one, you actually got to see the first, I think, 5, 6, 10 minutes or something of Christopher Nolan's new film Tenet, which looks awesome. I think that's gonna be a good movie. I would, as much as the Rise of Skywalker is a real pain in the butt, it's almost tempting to pay the money just to see those few minutes of that movie.
My other joke would have been way worse.
Oh, okay.
Way worse.
We'll save it for off air.
I did y'all a favor.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Last thing I will say though is that on this movie is that it is just it's so as you say when you say it ruins Star Wars, it's because of a big reveal that's really stupid, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and is not explained, and does really undermine a lot of things in previous movies. And another thing that's stupid also, this is one really made me laugh in a bad way, was there's a mole in the movie, a spy. And when you find out who it is, you will have the same reaction as Finn and Poe.
It's like, why do you even have it? Like, why even have the skit? Like, why have that part of the storyline?
I know.
It's terrible. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
I would rather watch The Sun.
Yeah.
Than watch that crappy Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And I could see some people saying, "Oh, what kind of movie is The Sun?" No, it's not a movie. I would rather watch the actual sun. Okay, I would rather watch The Sun and have it blind me. Okay, than watch the Star Wars movie again.
Oh God, yeah, I know. It's like, honestly, it's so just like The Last Jedi. It was like the first few minutes. I'm like, there's something wrong here. I can't handle this. I gotta get out. This one, I was like, it was the same thing. First few minutes, I'm like, oh God, already. I'm like, Jesus, we're screwed. It's oh God, it can be a good hate watch, mate. I mean, The Last Jedi was a good hate watch. This is not a good hate watch. It's a mess, total mess.
What's a hate watch?
A hate
Watching
watch.
CNN.
No, because I know that there's such thing as a hate
I know what you mean.
Well, it would be like
There's a
watching
hate bang.
Sharknado,
There's
I
no
guess.
hate watch. What was hate?
There is a
Well,
watch.
I hate someone so much I'm gonna watch their content. Like,
No. Hear me out. The hate watch is like when something you hate is so bad that you just have fun, watching it again, hating on it, finding more things ridiculously wrong with it. And that just sort of the ridiculousness of that just being funny in itself or fun. Oh, we have another call.
if you hate watch anything, you need to reassess your life and find another hobby. That's all.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna take this call.
Like
I'll be right
watching
back.
Sharknado, I guess. It's just some
No,
joking.
Sharknado's actually funny. Like it's not funny as in like like genuine comedy. There's just how stupid it is. It's funny because it's stupid, but it's like, yeah. I mean,
I don't know. Like, I wonder what's gonna happen now, because it seems like they're just pooping on all of George Lucas's legacy. Like he didn't.
that's
Oh,
exactly what he's doing. That's
Well,
exactly.
I
Thanks,
will,
Mickey Mouse.
I will say though, The Mandalorian is actually a good show. I watched it with my free trial because I wasn't going to pay that monthly fee. It is good. And who's it done by? Jon Favreau, who did the first Iron Man, and who also is a voice of a Mandalorian in the Clone Wars TV show, which is a good show. But The Mandalorian's the only good thing happening in Star Wars right now. Could it get screwed over and get worse as it goes along? It could, but the first season's good.
I heard they had a good video game recently too, like made by EA of all people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Fallen Order, I think it's called. Yeah, I heard that was good too. It's Star Wars has just been so many misses, and then there's like finally a few hits now. So Mandalorian's a definite must watch. I think you liked it, Alex, right?
Oh yeah, like the first few episodes, like that's all I saw. I mean, I have Disney Plus, don't have it accessible.
Yeah, I mean, I have some issues with the show, but it's just so minor in comparison to the overall thing. And Bill Burr's in it for one episode, which is like totally I didn't expect to happen, but it's a fun show, and it's just it feels more of a better direction Star Wars should be going in. And another good show. The two most popular shows apparently right now are The Mandalorian and The Witcher. I watched The Witcher. It was one of the first things I watched over break because I was genuinely interested because I love Henry Cavill. He's just a great actor and seems like a cool dude just overall. The Witcher is probably on paper a bit more flawed than The Mandalorian, but I had way more fun with the show and I loved it. I absolutely loved the first season. I don't know anything about The Witcher. I know some things from the games because I never played games, but I've heard things about them. Really good show. I hope everybody watched it because I can see that becoming a really big hit. And I can tell they're going to improve the issues that season 1 had in season 2. But Henry Cavill just kills it. He's perfect for the role. And a lot of the humor is just fun, good humor. And it's just really just fun. Like it's because people kept making these Game of Thrones comparisons, which were ridiculous because it's not trying to be that at all. It's kind of trying to be the anti-Game of Thrones, where it's not taking itself too seriously, and it's just sort of a just good old fun and fantasy adventure show. Did any of you check it out at all?
Yeah, no, I've been watching it. Like I just saw some more the other day. I'm probably about 6 episodes in there.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think I never watched Game of Thrones. I never really felt like it. So, just from a sort of, person new to that sort of genre, I think it's good. Like you do have to be a little bit like in depth watching it. Like
Yes.
It's not just like an easy thing, you have to pay attention or else you'll miss stuff. But no, I think the characters are pretty awesome. Like Geralt,
Geralt. Geralt. Yeah, Geralt. That's Henry Cavill's
Geralt
character.
of Rivia, he's a pretty cool guy. And like for something based off of a video game or book that's, it's mostly known for being a video game. Like my one friend, but it seems like, actually pretty decent. Like, you can really get into it, but it's not like Game of Thrones where, you have to, like, it's all this political intrigue. I mean, there is some of that in there, I imagine, but like it's more or less about, this guy and, a couple of these other characters.
Yeah. Do you have something to say, Phil?
No, I haven't watched. I should definitely watch it. I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, you definitely should.
Know.
I think you'd like it.
Yeah, I think I would too. It's just I don't know, maybe there's just something about like Harry Cavill, like because I didn't really like him in Superman. I didn't like him that much in Superman, so I'm like, ugh. But
Well, did you like him in Mission Impossible?
He was in Mission Impossible.
Yeah, he was in Fallout. Yeah, he was the guy with the mustache.
Oh, I didn't see the last one.
Oh,
the last Mission Impossible either. Like,
dude,
apparently I should see that one too.
Oh, that's one of my favorite action movies. It's so good. Oh, it's really good.
You got to see it. You're missing out, man.
I know, like everybody says that to me on like so many shows. I say the same thing back on some, but it's like when I do say it, I do mean it, because I also saw something Alex was telling me, like, you gotta see it, and that was the end of the effing world. And yes, that is how the title is spelled. It's F ***ing world. Very unique, kind of odd but interesting, and like just sort of like a cool show where they take a Bonnie and Clyde story and take in a modern teenager direction with, a second season that kind of makes it full circle in a way, in a really interesting way, but it really examines death and, how it affects people and what it means. And it's really interesting. It became something that at first seemed just kind of like a show that would just be fun to something that was actually more complex and had some deeper stuff to it as it moved along. So I would say check all those things out. Is there any other recommendations you guys have before we close out?
Oh yeah, no, like I've been watching the show You on Netflix, and that's probably one of my favorite, like, very interesting show about this, like, the sort of, like, when you describe it sounds really weird and like, why would you watch this? But it's like about, like, the first season is about this like stalker dude from like New York City who like stalks someone and has them fall in love with him and whatnot. And the second season, you kind of see the same thing happen in California, but there's a little bit of a twist. Like, I would definitely watch it if you're into like, especially like psychological based sort of dramas. Like it just kind of had me, watching it every minute. And kind of back to what you're talking about with the end of the world. That was, I feel like the second season, I don't know, I didn't really care as much for the second season, but it did have a role to play. But I don't know, I just love the characters so much in there.
I thought I'm not going to lie, the second season, for some reason, I don't want to say I liked more, but it just sort of, I don't know, something about that was really special. Because the first season's special in its own way, and this kind of special in its other way. And it was just very interesting what they did. I really enjoyed it. Do you have anything, Phil, you recommend?
I saw the last Rambo.
Yeah.
And okay, so obviously it's not going to be for everybody. Okay, sorry, it's not going to be for everybody. But if you liked the previous Rambo, if you're into like lots of gore and stuff, like this would be another Rambo to watch. Like, it was pretty fantastic, but it's the last one. Whatever.
Oh, I know you liked it, not to interject, but I also saw John Wick 3. I forgot the other day. That was awesome.
Yeah, John. I like John Wick.
And they definitely left room for a fourth one. Because you talked about that on the show, and I was like, I thought they were. Oh no, he's pissed now. So the fourth one's gonna be probably really good too. Because I noticed with each John Wick, they kind of go a little bigger, a little better. I think the third one might actually be the best one. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with more real news.